Hello, everyone, and welcome to this full moon forecast for the full moon in Leo 2023. We have also just passed through the threshold of Imbolc, the Celtic High Holy Day, which is the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, where the fires within us are reigniting, where we are stoking the inner flame of our desires, of our intentions, of the aliveness within us that wants to burst forth into spring. So expect to feel new energy returning to you as we all begin to wake up from our winter hibernations and slumbers and quietness. We're beginning to come back alive, and there is lots of energy moving for us. Also, because we have this beautiful fiery full moon in Leo. So we're going to go into all of that in our forecast. Thank you for being here. My name is Charlotte Alea. I am a New Earth priestess. And in these readings, I am an oracle from Mother Earth for all of us who are on an evolutionary path, journey, and healing awakening to coming into the greatest expression of love within us. So that's what we're here for. I draw 4 cards for us and I walk us through those cards. The first card is our lesson for this full moon and the days and couple weeks to come. The second is our shadow. So what is arising from the surface into our being? The third card is the gift, right? So what is the yumminess, the juiciness that we get to experience from this full moon? And the fourth card, which is usually often my favorite, is the wild card. And so this is another energy that Mother wants us to be aware of that's really going to impact us during this moon cycle. If you have been watching my forecast, you know that I have been coming online doing these twice per moon, but I am now shifting into doing forecasts just once per moon at the full moon, because I'm creating a lot of other video content for us, actually. And it is all within a new spiritual framework that I announced 2 weeks ago called the 13 Rays. And you can go back and watch that video if you'd like to learn more about it. I also talk about a few other aspects and focuses of my work. So everything now is going to be presented within this spiritual framework. And so in this moon, which began with the new moon in Aquarius and the Lunar New Year, we are in the maroon ray of sacred space. The maroon ray of sacred space. And so this moon contains 3 archetypes for us to work with. The divine feminine archetype of the space holder, the divine masculine archetype of the guardian, and the shadow archetype of the outcast, which we are healing through the embodiment of the divine archetypes. So expect all of those themes to really be coming through this transmission for you today. All right, so let's dive in, shall we? Let's go right into our lesson for the month. 2 of water, reclaiming, remembering, reuniting. Those are the 3 words that really dropped in for us with this frequency. Oh, wait, so you can see the words down there. There you go. The sacred chord. So this is a beautiful frequency for us as we are reawakening into spring and stoking that inner flame. A sacred aspect and part of ourselves is coming back home. This feels like a homecoming moon to us. So whether that part of yourself has been asleep and living within the shadows for a whole lifetime, or if it has just been asleep for a season, expect an awakening. Expect new aspects of yourself, sleeping aspects of yourself, to come back into wholeness. And as we do so, we create the sacred space for that to happen. So there is a sacred marriage that we are forming within ourselves with the parts of us that have already been activated and these new aspects of us that are coming online, almost like a new little inner romance, you could say. And then also, as we experience this reuniting within us, that then begins to be reflected and mirrored within our external world. So we can expect this new energy that we are activating right now to have profound impact on the whole rest of this year, this lunar year. This work of bringing ourselves into a beautiful homecoming sets the tone for the rest of the year. These aspects of us that are coming into wholeness are vital for whatever intentions we have set for 2023 and beyond. And so, whatever intentions you have set in what you would like to manifest outside of yourself, right? Because everything in our world is relational. Everything occurs in relationship, whether that is in relationship to the different parts within ourselves and also amongst us and others within our family, our communities, our societies. In this new earth paradigm, we are building in relationship with others. This is a paradigm of collaboration and co-creation. And that also involves with the spirit realm as well. Let us not forget that, right? And so these aspects of us that are coming home are also reflected within the guides, the spirit guides that support us on our paths. We're going to actually go into this in one of the next cards, that there is a fractalization energy that is present for us right now. Okay, but before we go into that, let's look at our shadow for this moon. Brother Fire. Okay, so here we see this bright Leo energy. If you can see, Brother Fire is actually riding a lion. So this is the part of us that we are welcoming home from the shadows. These two cards are intricately linked. I mean, all the cards are really. So Brother Fire is the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot deck. Brother Fire is a combination of fire and air elements, or fire and wind, you could say. This is big, bold energy. And what this taps into is the prior wounds that we carry of being too much, Whatever that too muchness is within your own consciousness, right? We all have, most of us anyway, have experienced wounds when we were younger of either being outcasted because we were too much in some way, or we outcasted ourselves, right? We made a decision that this part of us is just too big, too much, and we pushed it out. So this divine beauty, big beauty within us wants to burst through and come back. This fiery bigness of us is an aspect of our beauty. It is what brings us into a sparkling essence. And so we're really learning how to unshackle ourselves and heal ourselves from this indoctrination of holding ourselves back from all of who we are, in fear that that allness, that wholeness, that bigness is going to scare people away. It's going to lead us to being rejected or outcasted. So this always begins with ourselves, right? First, we have to unlearn the outcasting that we do to ourselves. And then we move through the memories of being outcasted by others, and we heal from that. So with this this shadow coming back into wholeness, we want to remain very sensitive and tender and loving towards ourselves, because it can feel bumpy. We can be like, oh, I don't know if this feels safe. I don't know if it feels safe to bring this part of me back into wholeness. I don't know if it's safe to actually express this part of myself to others. And we might actually experience it not feeling safe. And that is also part of the initiatory process, because then we have the new consciousness to begin to look back and say, why didn't that feel safe? Why didn't I project and create a safe environment for this part of me to be expressed? And how can I begin to shift that? How can I truly make my own inner body temple and consciousness temple, and my environment, my home, my community, my friends, how can I make that a sacred space for me to bring the wholeness, the bigness of myself back home and find self-expression? Let's then move into our gift. Knight of Water. Ooh, I just love this card so much. We have a 9, which is, 9s are a stage of completion, actually, of fruition. And so this energy is showing us and is gifting us with the wholeness, experiencing the wholeness of ourselves as sovereign beings, right? And also experiencing the wholeness of ourselves as fractals of the greater whole. So that's where this rainbow frequency comes in, and we see the rainbow mirror, right? We are simply a mirror. And if you think about rainbows, so rainbows are actually a hologram. They are an illusion of light that has been fractured into its different frequencies. And so when we see a rainbow, we are seeing the fracturing, but we are also seeing that fracturing coming together, because we're seeing all the parts together. And so this is what we get to experience. We're actually holding up a mirror of ourselves and seeing the wholeness and beauty of all of who we are in all our different facets. And then we're recognizing that this is simply a reflection of the divine, of the whole, of everything. And this is this beautiful paradox that occurs when we come into that sense of inner wholeness. All of a sudden, we don't feel separate from the divine, from the wholeness of all creation anymore, because we've healed that fracture within us. Because we feel whole inside, we will feel whole outside as well. So this is definitely a beauty moment to savor, that we get to savor this. We get to remember that we are a part of a greater whole, that we are simply a reflection of the greater whole. And we also see that actually in this 4th card. This is our wild card, Sister Water, which is Page of Cups in the traditional tarot. So Sister Water is a combination of earth and water elements. So isn't this interesting? Because we have this court card, which is earth and water, and we have this court card, which is fire and air. We have all 4 elements present here for us. Well, I guess you know what? And this would kind of represent the 5th, the ether element. So we have this wholeness of us being expressed through the energies that are coming through right now. So one of the things I wanted to point out on this card is, if you see the river coming down, and then you can see that it transforms into the head of a serpent. Water being emotion, energy in motion. So the river of our emotions is also the energy of our transmutation. I'm going to say that one more time. The river of our emotions is the energy of our transmutation. So this is how the process kind of works. And this is why this card is coming through as a, hey, okay, here's how this is actually going to look a little bit. That these parts of us that are coming out of the shadows, that are for us to reclaim, remember, come in a energetic package, right? They're packaged within energy that needs to be transmuted and released through us. So that energy is expressed through emotions. So you might end up feeling quite tender. You might end up feeling quite angry. You might end up feeling quite sad. You might actually end up feeling so overjoyed. And you might have laughing fits. You might have crying fits. You might just want to freaking punch a wall, right? Who knows? Because each of us are so unique, and the emotional package can look very differently for all of us. So allow this to be part of the process. Carve space, sacred space, to contain the emotions and to let them move through you. Just let them move through you. Let them be in motion, energy in motion. And as those energies then are released through us, that is when the inner gem emerges. And this shows us that as we come into wholeness, right, it takes some polishing, it takes some care and attention. And so we're releasing the emotions and we're polishing the gem, the new gems of our being that are going to be expressing their brightness through us. And as we polish, we are getting to know ourselves anew, right? We're going through this beautiful process of, like, you know, when you're getting to know somebody that you sort of have a crush on, and it doesn't have to be a sexual crush. It can just be like a friend crush. There can just be a little bit of romance in it. And you're just in awe of them. And you're just loving everything that you're learning about them. And you're just feeling this kismet between them. That is what we get to experience right now, is we get to sort of be in a romance with ourselves and just be in awe of these parts of yourselves coming back home and being like, oh my gosh, I never realized how good it feels to be in the presence of this aspect of myself. Once I've moved through the grit and kind of the bumpiness of it, then it's like, oh wow, this is awesome. I get to be awesome. And then I get to express that in the world and then have it reflected back to me in my relationships. I get to cultivate this energy now in my relationships moving forward this year. I get to weave it within the fabric of my life. Yeah, this is really good stuff. Okay, everyone, I believe that is it for now. Have fun as you begin to polish your true glory and beauty. And I will be back in a couple weeks as we move into the Ruby Ray of Grace, which is on the new moon in Pisces. One announcement for you. So I also have a new podcast called the Evolutionary Androgyne. And we have one episode that has already been released, and the next episode will be coming out in a few weeks. So I will provide the link to that below as well. This is a really fun exploration through myth and folklore where we excavate and find the new earth codes for us hidden within the mythos of history and herstory. So I hope you'll tune into that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you then.